Good afternoon, my Real News Midday TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update. And in the news this afternoon, deportees cautioned against the criminal conduct as government steps up reintegration efforts. Prime Minister Andrew Holness has again issued a stern warning to repatriated citizens who may be tempted to return to Jamaica with a criminal intent. His caution comes after some 107 deportees arrived at the Norman Manley International Airport in Kingston from the United States on Thursday morning. This is reportedly the largest group since the start of the year. While acknowledging the hardships faced by some Jamaicans living abroad, the Prime Minister cautioned against any attempt to import criminal conduct into the country. Mr. Holness said the Ministry of National Security, in collaboration with the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, has been tasked with strengthening reintegration support for deported nationals, ensuring they are given avenues to contribute meaningfully while also protecting the safety and the stability of communities. Addressing the matter at a post-cabinet press briefing on Thursday, Foreign Affairs Minister Kamina Johnson-Smith clarified how many Jamaicans are expected to be deported from the United States.
Allow me to be clear that 4,000 Jamaicans are not being returned now. For some time, it has been in the public domain that the U.S. authorities had close to 4,000 persons in their records with final orders for deportation against their names. It is now our understanding that approximately 2,500 have been confirmed for removal over a period of time, to be determined by logistics, their own legal processes, and other factors. On May 5th, Cabinet approved the establishment of a National Technical Working Group on voluntary and involuntary migrants, recognizing that not only is the grouping not homogeneous in and of itself, we now have a subgrouping of those who are returning of their own motion and those who are being returned, those who have the decision made for them. This technical group is chaired by the Planning Institute of Jamaica. Oversight is provided by the Ministries of National Security and Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. And the technical group comprises several ministries, departments, and agencies, as well as civil society partners.
U.S. relaxes travel advisory for Jamaica. There is some good news for Jamaica's tourism industry, as the U.S. Department of State has relaxed its travel advisory for the island from Level 3 to Level 2, now urging American travelers to exercise increased caution instead of reconsidering travel altogether. The revision issued Thursday acknowledges a decline in violent crime since 2024, although the U.S. government notes that crime and limited medical services remain a concern, particularly outside tourist zones. Tourism interests say last year's Level 3 advisory resulted in some cancellations and reduced the bookings for the island. The U.S. advisory noted that, despite the overall improvement in crime, dozens of communities across 13 parishes remain on the Do Not Travel list due to high crime. It said U.S. Embassy staff are still barred from using public buses or driving between cities at night. The U.S. Embassy said it frequently receives reports of sexual assaults, including incidents involving American tourists at resorts. It noted that the victims have also reported slow or inadequate responses to serious crimes and urged that when arrests are made, cases are rarely carried through to a final verdict and sentencing. Travelers are advised to avoid risky areas, buy travel insurance, and do not expect U.S.-level medical care. In the meantime, the government has welcomed the revised U.S. travel advisory for Jamaica, with Prime Minister Andrew Holness noting that it is the result of deliberate and data-driven efforts to reducing crime and improving public safety. The government has said it remains committed to security, good governance, and continuous improvement. Watchdog groups question appointment of Dennis Chung to lead FID. Anti-corruption watchdog groups National Integrity Action and the Jamaica Accountability Meter Portal are calling for the government to provide full transparency on the selection process and the criteria used in appointing Dennis Chung to head the Financial Investigations Division. Mr. Chong's appointment as the new Chief Technical Director of the FID comes into effect on Monday, June 2. The NIA says it shares in the public's concern regarding the transparency of the appointment, mainly as the division is tasked with investigating the Integrity Commission's report on the financial affairs of the Prime Minister. It says the selection process for such a critical entity at this time is pivotal in building and maintaining the confidence of both the local and international law enforcement. The NIA argues that Mr. Chong's dedication to service and to Jamaica is unquestionable, but says his previous statements on the Integrity Commission's report raised legitimate questions regarding his objectivity. Noting that Mr. Chong is a former chairman of NIA, the group says it is confident that he appreciates the validity of these concerns, adding that his selection has far-reaching implications. The NIA says that Mr. Chong should seriously consider whether he wants to take up the appointment. Meanwhile, the Jamaica Accountability Meter portal argues that while Mr. Chong is a qualified chartered accountant, there are no known indications that he has prior experience in investigating financial crimes. The Watchdog group asserts that the head of the FID must have the requisite qualifications, demonstrated independence and impartiality to enjoy the full confidence of the society. It's therefore calling for clarification of Mr. Chong's expertise in areas such as the supervision of complex forensic investigations involving politically exposed people, leading or managing law enforcement or financial crime teams, and working in anti-money laundering or asset recovery fields. JAMP says it acknowledges that talented forensic accountants, analysts, and investigators are employed to the FID, but it maintains that the institutional strength of the agency hinges on the head having the requisite competencies to critically assess employee output and set investigative priorities with legal, procedural, and strategic implications in mind. The group says it wants the Ministry of Finance to clarify the selection process and the criteria used to appoint Mr. Chong, as well as to share the job specification and the qualifications profile that informed the appointment. Additionally, it says the ministry should consider legislative reform to codify competency standards for this critical position if none exists. Search on for British woman reported missing in St. Ann. Detectives in St. Ann have intensified their search for a British national who was reported missing in Oterios last week. Michaela Fremantle, 39, was last seen at 8:42 a.m. on Saturday, May 24, leaving a hotel property wearing a black hat, green and yellow blouse, red dotted shorts, a pair of black shoes, and carrying a shopping bag. She is of dark complexion, slim built, and about 5 feet 8 inches tall. The news was informed that Miss Fremantle arrived in Jamaica on May 12 via a British Airways flight in Montego Bay and checked into a resort in Oterios. She was scheduled to depart the island on Monday. After she missed her check-out time, hotel staff made checks and found the visitor's suitcase with her personal belongings inside the room, along with a note and a piece of paper. The Oterios police were subsequently contacted. CCTV footage showed Miss Fremantle leaving the property but not re-entering. Several calls to her phone went unanswered. The Oterios police, assisted by the Marine Division, have conducted searches of several beaches and other properties along the north coast, but to no avail. Guys, thank you for watching. See you this evening at 6 p.m. for another news update.